So good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Good evening. Let me see who is in the audience. Hello, everybody. I am David. I'm connecting from Lagos. Let me quickly go online and see who we have. All right. Let's start trooping into the room, everybody. Let's start tripping in. Let's start tripping in. Okay. Who is here? Let me type in the chat. Hello, I am David from Lagos, Nigeria. So let's introduce ourselves. All right, so today we're going to be talking about Excel. So Excel today, the new fundamentals and what you must know about this new fundamentals. So I'm going to give you a general overview of what Excel used to be, well, and then what are all those new things? What's Excel so new now? What's new about it? And what are the things that you need to kind of take advantage of in Excel, the new Excel, right? Great. I can see, hi, Joseph. Hi, Smith. Hello from Lagos. Hi, Emmanuel from Ghana. How are you doing? Who else is here? We have Isaac. Isaac, where are you from? Where are you connecting from? We have Joseph from Calabar. And who else? We have Muizat from Lagos. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. All right. All right. Good, good. We're all coming in. That's good. Great stuff. Great stuff. All right. And those connecting from Instagram, connecting from YouTube, you're all welcome. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. If you want to comment, the best way to comment is to comment directly from the LinkedIn, and we'll be able to see those comments coming in. All right. Right. So Excel. How many of you use Excel? Someone type in the chat. How long have you used Excel? How long? How long have you used Excel? Asking the question. So how long have you used Excel? Tell me in the chat, how long have you used Excel? Let me see. How long? I'm sure we have many gurus in the house. All right, what do I have here? Good day. Yes, hi from Abuja. Wondering how long people have used Excel. We'll see. 6 years. Michael has used it for 6 years. Very good. Isaac has used it, or Isaac has used it for 15 years. Wow, that's amazing. All right. All right. So my approach really is, how do I really approach things? I like to think in systems and develop tools from the ground up. That's just what I'd like to always develop tools from the ground up and use these tools and frameworks with our clients. So we always use tools and frameworks with our clients. So if you ask me, oh, I have an Excel problem, what I always think is, look, how do we automate this thing? Because if this problem is a repetitive problem, what's the process for automating this, right? So I always think, how do I automate it? Create a small model so that this can be automated. That's the way I think when I work with Excel. Now, sometimes there's some things that are ad hoc. They will never happen again. It's just one off. Okay, I won't need to build a model. But most times, we end up doing these things repetitively. So it's always important to kind of automate. So I also like to collaborate with the best in the world in whatever I do, find out where they are and collaborate so that we can have test different horizons and get greater impact. I also love to teach, so teach all my findings, and by teaching, you actually gain by teaching. So people say teachers' reward is in heaven. I don't know if you've heard that saying, but I don't agree. When you teach, you actually learn the thing more. You keep learning as you teach, and you get to know it better. And then I think Excel can do everything. I don't know who agrees with me. I think Excel can do everything. And if you don't agree with me, I'll kind of play somebody's video that's going to tell you or prove to you that I'm right. that Excel can do nearly everything. So I think Excel is single-handedly responsible for our technological growth over the last 20 years. I strongly think that, because at the end of the day, right, it's the spreadsheets that made computers or laptops, computers really useful. When VisiCalc came out, the very first spreadsheet was VisiCalc, Visual Calculator. When it came out, people actually went to buy computers just to use VisiCalc to do their accounting, right? So spreadsheets, and let's just even hear from someone. Who is the head of Microsoft? Right? Who is the current head of Microsoft? You know him? Well, let's hear from him. I'll just mute and then let's.
That ability to empower our people with tools and agency to go and look for the workflow closest to them, that I think is what needs to happen. Just like how we were able to use, I think I always say Excel is the greatest programming, most ubiquitous programming tool in the world. And all of us learned how to program in Excel, essentially. And that's the thing that I think is going to happen again.
So that is Satya Nadella. That's Satya Nadella. And what he was referring to was AI. He had this talk about AI. And he's basically saying that, look, Excel, understanding how to use Excel enables you to understand how to use data. And understanding that will give you all you need for programming. But guess what? There's a new programming language in the house now, in the world right now. And it's the programming language everybody knows. It's called English. So when you're using ChatGPT and stuff, you're typing English, you're really programming and you're asking it to solve problems. Sometimes it's writing Python, sometimes it's writing code. So the new programming language is English, but understanding Excel gives you a very big advantage. So I think you can build every single software out there, you can build it in Excel as a test. So big changes have happened in Excel in the last 10 years. Big changes. In fact, last 4 years or 5 years, I think one of the biggest shifts. So what's my goal today? What's my goal? So I want to show you how to shift from fighting with Excel when solving your data problems to leveraging modern Excel techniques to speed up the transition from thinking to action, to save you loads of time and money. So that's my goal. And of course, Excel is the tool for financial modeling, building models, building all sorts of models is Excel, right? And as I said, thinking models. So I'm David, managing partner at Dibran Consulting, CEO of Dibran Analytics Solutions in Dubai. I'm also a consultant with the World Bank and consultants with various other entities as well. Also honorary treasurer of the Nigeria British Chamber of Commerce and also a chairman of the ICANN Data and IT faculty. Many hats, but today my main hat is an analyst, right? I'm going to talk as an analyst and see how we build stuff. I've built quite a lot of courses, trained, done a lot of work, built solutions for lots of clients. I have probably almost 30 years experience working with Excel. Or more, actually more than 30 years experience. So what I'd like you to do is kind of turn off your devices, switch off your ringers and stuff. Don't get distracted. Let's focus for the next, 45 minutes or so, or 50 minutes, and let's see how we can gain the most from this webinar. All right? Are we good? Great. So I want to know about you. So I have 3 options. I'm not too sure who's in the audience. Do you have 10 plus years experience? Are you one of those that has 10 plus years experience? You've been using Excel a lot, but you have very bad habits. So I'm thinking we have lots of experience and bad habits that you probably maybe you don't even know is bad habits. Or you are experienced, but you're kind of experienced, but Excel use is mainly repetitive. So you do repetitive things. Yeah, repetitive stuff. And you really want to enhance that skill set to enhance your career, right? So you want to basically stop that repetition and think, look, I've been doing the same formula for the last 10 years. It's working, but is it really efficient, right? So is that you? Experience, not up to 10 years, but you need to kind of get better. Or are you just starting out? Are you just starting out, you're a student, you're just starting out in your career, not less than 2 years, and you just want to learn Excel for fluency? So which one are you? 10 years experience and more, or are you experienced, not up to 10 years, but you need an Excel boost? Or are you completely new to the workforce, maybe 1 or 2 years in the workforce? Which one are you? 1, 2, or 3? I always want to know. So please let me know in the chat. Let me know which one you are. Are you number 1, number 2, number 3? Should I go slow? Should I go fast? Which one? Which one are you? Let me see. All right, so it's not coming in now. I know there's a slight delay when it comes in. So Olufunshaw is one. He is super experienced, plus 10 years. Loads of experience, Olufunshaw. Olumide also loads of experience. I like that. We have very experienced people in the house. Very good, very good. All right. And okay, so we have quite a few experienced people. So whatever your motivations are for coming today, don't worry. I fully support all those motivations. I can see Isaac is 2, which means he's not up to 10 years experience, but he still needs to learn quite a bit. All right. So quite a lot of people. Okay, I have some ones as well. Michael Ajayi is a 1. Right? We have some people that have not been spoiled by bad practice. Very nice. So Uzo Chuku is 1, Christopher is 1. Yes. You can see them coming in. Great stuff. So I just one academy away from proficiency and career advancements that you desire, right? But we'll come to that. So how are we going to do today? I'm going to do an overview of Excel in general, just have a general idea how Excel works. Then I'll do an overview of modern Excel, just give you a general idea of modern Excel, how modern Excel works. And then we'll say a system for using Excel. We'll probably take a case study and kind of look through, okay, this is a problem we have. How do we think through the problem and use Excel to solve it, right? But using modern Excel to solve it. Then maybe my top 10, top 5 of Excel, what I think are the best tools in Excel, right? There's so many tools, but I want to go over a general framework for you. Then where Excel is heading, where do I think Excel is heading? Even with the modern Excel, where exactly is Excel heading? I'll give you an idea what I think where Excel is heading. Then how to work with me on the team, and then you do Q&A, right? So we do a Q&A, live Q&A. So prepare your Q&A, make sure your Q&A is ready for us to do those questions. I'll be taking questions, all right? So this is our framework, how we're going to move on. Now, some of you have watched a webinar where I discussed problem solving in Excel, or problem solving around data. And the way to solve problems is to be able to identify the problem. So if you're one of those that watched that, tell me what that framework is. Tell me in the chat. There's a framework we developed that kind of helps you identify the data problem. Right? And what modern Excel does, modern Excel makes it so much easier for you to solve those problems in Excel directly without having to go to some expensive software. So there's a framework I shared some webinars ago. Who remembers? It starts with M. Let me see who gets it. Starts with M. Let me see who has that framework before I put it up. Anybody following all our frameworks? You know, we work in frameworks. We love frameworks. So I'll just give an overview of the framework. Let me see who got it. An overview. Okay, hello, everybody. It seems I got kicked out for some reason. I don't understand. Maybe my system doesn't want me to share this framework with you. Interesting. The data is crying. All right. Well, I'll share the framework with you regardless. All right. So tell me, I'm sure you can see my screen now. All right. Sorry for it kicking me out. Let me see if I can close some fields here. Many things I have open. Let me just close as much as I can to reduce the bandwidth consumption. Okay. All right. And I can see Sadiq. Sadiq, you don't qualify. Why are you answering Sadiq? Anyway. Okay, Sadiq seems to have got it, right? Hillary said Missy. I like pronouncing it Missy, but it's Miss. No, so Sadiq got it. Abel got it. It is Maestro, the Maestro framework, yes. So the Maestro framework is a framework for solving real-world data problems by identifying the problem. So let's quickly identify the problem. And when I'm doing the demo, you can ask yourself, which part of Maestro am I solving with Excel? So just a reminder, the Maestro framework starts with mechanizing. Mechanizing means you're minimizing manual tasks to improve efficiency. Mechanizing is just automation, right? You want to automate. The problem is an automation problem. Remember, I told you that when you're working in Excel, if you're doing something that you do repetitively, try and automate it. So the next time you don't need to do that thing repetitively. It's just automated. It's so important. Then another thing is acquire. Acquisition problems are problems that arise when you're trying to get data, trying to gather and connect to various data sources. That's an acquisition problem. Right? Then you have an evaluation problem. Evaluation problems, you need to do thorough analysis. You're doing deep analysis, doing reporting and stuff like that. Deep analysis in general. More modeling. So this is getting closer to financial modeling. You're building a model to try and do some analysis and get some insight. And that's the issue you have, so deeper insight, okay? Then you also have a security problem. Here, you have issues with data integrity. Maybe you want to share data responsibly. You want to ensure that the data itself is secure, right, and accurate. So there's some security-related problems. Or is it a transformation problem? You have the data, it's not that clean. So we'll look at a demo, for example, where you want to consolidate budget, right? So currently we're entering budget season. You have all these things, you've sent templates to all your departments to fill out, and now you want to consolidate the budget. How do we do that? When some people have 10 lines, some people have 20 lines, how do we consolidate it efficiently in a way that's automated, right? How do you transform the data? How do you clean the data, organize the data? If that's the problem, okay, how does Excel solve that? Then is it a refinement problem? You built your model, but you need to refine it. You need to optimize it. You need to kind of find more efficient ways to do what it is that you need to do to run your business. And you need to use some optimization tools to optimize, right? Some risk, there's always risk. And to mitigate that risk, you need to kind of think creatively and use statistical tools. How do you optimize? Right? That's the refinement problem. And then lastly, you have an output problem where probably you're not presenting the solution. You're not presenting to your management effectively. You want to automate your charts, your tables, your dashboard. So when the data updates, you automate the output. So typically, these are the issues that people have. And this is the Maestro framework. So MAESTRO, Maestro, right? All right. Let's jump into Excel. I'm going to let me open a blank Excel. Let's just start with a blank Excel to see how Excel is in its native form, right? Blank Excel, let me get that up. Okay, so this is a blank Excel, right? Excel is a grid, right? You have your grid. And if you remember what I say every time I train in Excel, I always say something about Excel. I say, who can remember that story? If it is not in a cell, in Excel, it is not Excel. So your normal Excel, every time you work with Excel, you must work with a cell. And if you look at a sheet, this is one sheet. How many cells inside this sheet? Ideally, I can do a simple math. I can say equals to the row, as in what row is the last row, right? Multiplied by what column is the last column. Oh, no, that's not the last row. Row is supposed to be down, isn't it? So what is the last row in Excel multiplied by, so this is the last row in Excel, right? This is how many rows Excel has. What about the columns? So how many columns does Excel have? Well, Excel has equals to column. So equals to column. If I go to the last column, this is the number of columns Excel has. So if this is the number of rows and columns Excel has, how many cells does Excel have? It's a simple multiplication. And one single sheet has 17 billion cells. This sheet has 17 billion cells. So as a programmer, what you're doing, because guess what? When you're using Excel, you're a programmer. You're basically programming every single cell. Now, what do you use Excel for? For me, what are the use cases? The big use cases for Excel. What are they? For me, people use Excel to do reporting. People use Excel to do analysis. Reporting and analysis, I see that as major use cases. Now, some people use Excel to store data as well. They actually type and store data in Excel, right? So some people actually kind of use Excel as a database. Sorry, I got kicked out again for some reason. That's very strange. So sorry about that. I'm back. I think I'm back. So let me just join. Let me share my screen again. Hope this is not a recurring thing. So I was on Excel and I was saying, okay, what are the use cases for Excel? So while I'm typing, I would like you to type in the chat, what is your use case? How do you use Excel? So I see from my almost 30 years or so experience, I see people use Excel for reporting, people use it for analysis, people use it as a database, which is not what it was designed for. They use it as a database, right? What else? Type in the chat, what else do we use Excel for? Have reporting, have analysis. Now, analysis, I'll add modeling to that. So analysis, including modeling, right? Including modeling and stuff like that, right? So what do you use Excel for? Yes, using Excel as a database is a recipe for disaster. Well, the key thing is this: whatever you use Excel for, reporting, analysis, including modeling, you need data. The core is that you need data. So data is the foundation of using Excel, data. So you need to get data, right? Once you get data, then you need to analyze it, analyze that data. And then once you analyze it, you need to share it, right? You need to share the analysis right? So whatever it is you do, so you basically get data, you do analysis, you analyze the data, and then you share your analysis. So if we say that these are the only things we do, then let's see, how do we use Excel more efficiently? Now, old Excel, when you see old Excel basically allowed you to put four things into a cell. Four things really, which are, you put numbers into a cell. Number, you can start off by saying, okay, you put a positive number, a negative number, you put 0, and text. Those are the four things you put into Excel. Now, why do I say that? Because when you enter anything into Excel, anything at all, it can basically identify what is this. You see, there's a function in Excel that says, okay, what is something? This thing I just typed into Excel, what is it? Is. So if you type in is into Excel, these are your is functions, all right? There are a set of functions that tell you what something is. I like those functions because Excel is like English, right? Is. So what is this? All right, it seems I'm fighting with my system. Sorry, everybody, for the system keeps kicking me out. If it does that one more time, I'm going to restart my system and then join you guys. So you probably watch one or two videos that we've set up for you, and then I will join back. Okay, so if it kicks me out one more time, I will have to restart. But let's jump in. Let's jump in. So where was I? Where was I? I was talking about what can you type into Excel, which is very important. What are things you can type into Excel? Right. Okay, so here I was saying that, look, anything you type into Excel, you could use a set of functions called the is functions. Very cool. Now, these functions, you can see, is this even? Is it an even number? Is it a formula in here? Is it logical? Is it ISNA? Is it an NA error? Is it an NA error? Is it non-text? That means it's non-text. I mean, you could have some other characters. Is it a number? Is number. So if I come here, for example, and say, is this a number? It says, yes, it is true, right? If I put a text, it says, no, it's not a text, right? If I put a character, well, it's, as far as it's concerned, you can say, is it a text, right? Is this still a text? It says, yes. So typically that's how it was. But modern Excel, sometime around, in fact, let me show you the article. Around some years prior to even this article, let me show you one article that kind of changed everything. So this was an article written in September 25th, 2018 by Joe McDade. So it's a preview of dynamic arrays in Excel. So the way that Excel works was fundamentally changed. It's like changing the foundation of Excel. So take it around this time, or prior to this time actually, the foundations of Excel was completely transformed. Prior to this time, we had, if I show you, we had a cell. When you write a formula, if I come here and I say equals to, and I highlight these four things, this will just tell me an error, to show me an error. But right now, it doesn't. It gives me all those things. It's doing something called spilling, right? Spilling. It's spilling the data. So this spill is the beginnings of dynamic arrays. And dynamic arrays, using dynamic arrays completely transforms how you work in Excel. Absolutely transforms how you work in Excel. So Excel is more like a full-blown programming language. And there's something else that happened to Excel based on it adding something called a lambda. So this a lambda is a kind of a function. In fact, let me ask Excel, what do we mean by lambda, right? And who would I ask? I would do AI, right? Ask AI. Let me introduce a new function in Excel called Copilot. There's Copilot in Excel. Let me ask Copilot. Copilot should please explain to me what is meant by this function. Please be descriptive. So this is me asking Copilot a question about this function. All right, enter. Let's have a look. So Copilot, now Excel has a rich data set. You can see what Copilot is doing. Copilot is taking my data from here and going online and picking information from online and bringing it back. Now, old Excel couldn't do that, right? But this is new Excel. Let's see, what did it say about Lambda? Let me kind of expand this, and I'm going to wrap this. So let's wrap this cell so that I can see what it's saying, right? So wrap. Oh, wow, I told it to be very descriptive. The Lambda function is in Excel, allows you to create a custom reusable function without needing VBA or macros. It lets you define a formula with parameters, which you can then call by name elsewhere in your workbook. Now, it's getting technical. When you say a parameter, just take it like you're naming something. Let's assume I gave this cell a name, and I want to now call that cell. I'm going to say, hey, if I call this cell David, look at this. If I come here, let's say I'm typing any rubbish here, and I come here and I give this cell a name, I call it David. See what I did? I went to the name box at the top left and called this cell David. If I come in here and say equals to David, what I mean is I've created a parameter. This technically is like a parameter, and I'm calling that parameter as, hey, David will come here, isn't it? So that's what we mean by a parameter, which you can then call by name elsewhere in your workbook. This helps simplify complex formulas, improves readability, and prompts reuse. Essentially, Lambda turns a formula into a function that can take inputs and return a result, making your spreadsheet more powerful and flexible. So Lambda is basically what made Excel Turing complete. So Excel is a full-blown programming language now. No IT guy can tell you otherwise. It's a full-blown programming language. Let me adjust this prompt and say, explain to me, be brief. Be brief. Let me just say, be brief in your definition, please. Just one sentence. So I've modified my prompt. So you can see this function in Excel is amazing. I can have this function do nearly everything you can see in ChatGPT. It can do it. So a function that allows you to create custom reusable functions in Excel. Very nice, right? So I've created a tool, right, based on this new function called what? Copilot, right? There's so many new functions. Let me show you, let me give you a summary of what's new, and then we're going to jump into a demo, all right? So the interface, many things are new, but let me come into golden rules. I started with golden rules. I said, if it's not in Excel, it is not Excel. To work with Excel, you must work with Excel. That hasn't changed. Now, but what is in Excel has changed. There are many things in Excel, but we'll come to that, right? Yes. So what are the formatting rules? Who knows this song? I always say this song, a format can never change what is in a cell. It only changes what you see. And what you see is not necessarily what's in a cell. This is formatting. Formatting is just what you see. That's kind of on the surface area of the cell. So I can come here and I can shade this font. I can put a, I don't know, red font. This is a format. It's not going to change what's in the cell. But I can do another format that says anytime I type a text, do something else, right? But dynamic arrays is what is brand new. So dynamic arrays, your old Excel, when you type one formula, you get one value. That's old Excel. Type a formula, you get one value. You then copy your formula down, you drag it down. That's old Excel. Your dynamic array, you have one formula, you can have many values. So you can write one single formula and you have a full report out of one formula, right? It just pulls out a full report. So the benefit is that you're going to write fewer formulas. Since you can just write one formula and it kind of brings everything, that reduces the error rate of your spreadsheet. So whenever you're using your spreadsheet, you need to use dynamic arrays. So what are the dynamic array functions? Look at some of them. These are some of them. You have your let, your let function, your drop function, your filter function, your sort function, your take function, your unique function, vstack. So I'm listing out these ones, right? All of these ones here. These are the ones I tend to use a lot. Let, drop, filter, sort, take, unique, vstack, wrap, call, wrap, rows, sequence. Sounds crazy. Let's look at a familiar case study. Let's go to, let me see. Let's do a budget. Let's do a simple budget. So I'm going to open a simple budget. Let me open a simple budget. And then let's see how we can build out something around that budget. All right. We'll build something out. Okay. I'm going to delete. Let me hide a few things. Hide. Okay. Right. So I'm bringing out a budget template. Let's have a look. Say budget template. This is from one of our courses. So let's assume you have a budget template like this, right? You have accounting. Let me make it bigger. You have operations. And let's pretend you can insert as many rows as you like, and your users need to type out all the different line items for their budget, okay? And you need to consolidate operations, marketing, all of these things, you need to consolidate them, right? Now, if you want to consolidate them, one easy way to do that, let's come here. We're going to use a function. What function should we use? Key thing for consolidating is like copy and paste. We should copy this, copy, paste, right? Then copy the next one, paste, copy the next one, paste. But instead of that, we're going to use a function called vstack, right? So it's an array function. What is it? Equals to vstack. Now, what is vstack? Let's tab, let's control A. So what does vstack say? Vstack, you can't read it, it's very tiny. It says vertically stack arrays into one array. An array is a range, right? So if I go to array here, I can come to accounts. I can highlight accounts like this. I don't need the totals. I'll just highlight accounts like this. I go to the second array, which is operations. I highlight operations like, oh, wait a minute. I think I should highlight including the name. Let's go to accounts. Let's highlight from here like this. Okay, so I'm going to highlight all the way like this. I don't want the totals. For operations, I'll go to operations and, what did I do? Okay, let me slow down. I'm messing things up. Right, delete. Let's go to array 1. My first array accounts, I'm going to highlight like this. I want to consolidate this. Array 2, I'm going to operations, and then I'm highlighting like this. I don't want the heading twice. Array 3, is marketing. I highlight like this. So it's as simple as this, click, 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 and we have a consolidated table. So this is one way I could do it. Now, if for any funny reason, I don't know why people would do that, there's some people that just leave a lot of spaces and they just type haphazardly into the data. Let's see if we can automate this consolidation using, I'll just show you examples of various formulas. But at the end of the day, what this has done is, if somebody inserts new data here, let's just say this is, I don't know, you have supplies, you have miscellaneous or something, commitment fee or something. So I have a commitment fee, and I'm just going to put fictitious data there. Right, so I already have fictitious data. So this fictitious data commitment fee, right? It won't consolidate here. So this is what method one. This is VStack. So I use VStack. Okay, so now let's see how we could use a different method. What I would like to do is I would like to consolidate based on everything here. I would just highlight the entire thing like this and consolidate, right? Why would I want to do that? Well, in case anybody enters any new data in here. So let's do method two. So let's do method two. It's going to be a bit more complex, but it's going to help you, show you the new way to work with Excel. So if I come here and I say equals to, right? And assuming that I want this whole thing, everything like this, right? I'm just going to highlight A to F. You know, I've highlighted like billions of rows, which is kind of going to cause some problems, right? So how do I pick this out? If I highlight it like this and enter, well, it's going to have a spill error. Why? There's not enough space. I didn't start from row one, but I deliberately did that to show you something new. There is a new operator in Excel. When I say operator, what do I mean? When you say operator in Excel, let me go online so you can have a look at what I mean by operators. Excel has operators. Operators, what are operators? Operators specify the type of calculation that you want to perform on elements in a formula. Now, let me give you an example. Minus sign, plus sign, these are operators. Plus, minus, multiplied, divide, those are operators. So when you say equals to A1 plus A2, those are operators. You need to know the operators. These are your normal, typical operators, caret, right? There's also comparison operators, right? Especially modelers in the house, you use comparison operators, equals to, greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Then you use concatenate operators. This is a join operator, joins things, and sign. Then you use reference operator. What are references? Colon, comma, space. They all do things. They all do different things. I don't know if who has ever written a formula like this. Look at this formula. Intersector operator is your space operator. Many people don't know this. You see a space here, you're basically saying this and this. You're doing the intersect. Intersection operator which produces a reference to cell common to the two references. So we're checking what is common to these two. Go try it out. But then you also have a new operator called the pound operator. I'll explain the pound operator when it comes to spill and ranges, but pound operator has three uses. But there's one operator. They have an @ operator. The @ operator when you use tables, but there's one operator which they funnily didn't list out here, which I'm going to use. It's called the dot operator. What does the dot operator do? So see this range, I've taken the entire A to F. If I come after A and I put a dot, and I come after A and put a dot, what that A means, it means that I want you to start from the top, but I want you to ignore any empty spaces from the top. So if I enter, it's still going to be spilled because there's not enough space. But I'm also going to put a dot before F. So look at this. I'm putting a dot after A, just a dot after A, and a dot before F. What I'm saying is, hey, I want you to give me everything, but anytime there's blanks at the top, ignore it. Anytime there are blanks at the bottom, ignore it. When I enter, look at what it shows me. Look at this. So my formula has basically given me the entire data between column A and column F. But because I use this new operator called the dot operator, which basically truncates the data and says, hey, only give me fields that have values. So it now gives me this. Now, how do I work with this? I need to what are we interested in here? What we're interested in is this data here, isn't it? And again, this is coming from the accounts department. Now, you have to understand, when you're working with Excel, you need data. your data must follow a certain structure. Once your data follows a structure, a key thing for you to do is automate how you got that data. So what I want to do now is build a tool to automate the extraction of data from my sheets and then the consolidation of that data. Then I'll build a custom function so that anytime I want to consolidate data, I just write the custom function, it just does it automatically, right? And you can then use that to consolidate your budget and do your reporting. Now, I'm using Excel formulas to do this. Excel has so many ways you could do this. One of the best ways is usually to go to data and use Power Query. I'm not going to go through all the demos. I just want to do this one to show you how you can combine various functions. But this is your number one tool, Power Query. This is when it comes to, I told you about problems in Excel. Let's go to the slide just to remind ourselves. When it comes to transformation problems, right? Transformation problems, acquisition problems, acquiring and transforming, this is your solution. Data, Power Query, master Power Query. It will save you a lot. But right now what I'm doing is I'm doing transformation and acquisition in Excel. I started out by bringing everything in and using the dot operator. Next step, I want to kind of reduce. I'm not interested in this. Maybe I'm not even interested in the heading right now. All I'm interested in is this. All right, so look at this. Let's analyze this together. And this is how you think when you work with modern Excel, right? You're thinking, okay, I'm not interested in row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, row 5. I want to eliminate it. I am not interested in column, this is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not interested in column 6, all right? And I am also not interested in this last row. So what we could do is, since I'm not interested in it, I need to drop it. There's a function called drop. It's a new function. It's one of the new array functions. And array functions work with arrays. So I'm saying, hey, out of this, my table here, this table that you're looking at, right? I want to drop, what am I dropping? If you look at the function, let me do fx so you can see. This is the function. You give it an array. The array is what we highlighted. What rows? What are the rows you want to drop? I want to drop 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to drop 5 rows. Now, when I type 5, it means I'm dropping 5 rows from the top. If I type -2, for example, it means I'm dropping the last 2 rows from the bottom, right? But I want to drop both the last 2 rows and the first 5, but I can't do both. So I have to do 5. What column am I dropping? I'm dropping the first 5 columns. Which columns am I dropping? I'm dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think 6, column 6. Anyway, let's just see what it shows us. If I drop 6, am I dropping 6? I'm not dropping 6, because if I drop 6, I'm dropping 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So starting from the right, I want to drop the last column on the right. So I'm going to drop -1. All right. So the last column, if you're dropping from the right backwards, is minus. If you're dropping from the left, it's plus. So I'm dropping 5 rows from the top and 1 column from the right. If I click OK, see what it has reduced my table to. Remember, this is your new Excel array formulas. If I type inside here, it's going to show the spill error, isn't it? Because it's trying to spill your result, right? So if I delete that, let me delete that. So now I kind of think I'm good, but I now need to drop the last 2, okay? The last 2 rows. So which means I need another drop inside the drop, right? So I'm going to put another drop here. And this time, all of this drop, I am dropping the last 2. So -2, I'm dropping the last 2 rows, -2, close bracket. Now, look at this. I have now gotten my data. This is my data. This data is what? What data is this? This data is from accounts. I think it would be a good idea for us to know that it's accounts. If we can insert a row, insert a row, but I can't do that here, right? Inserting a row. This is an array. I can't insert a row. I want to insert a row where I can have accounts, or maybe the first row will be account, or somewhere here. Accounting, right? Or accounts, and then this. So that way I can have real data, and then I can consolidate HR data under that. I can consolidate operations data. Do you get it? How do I do that inside this formula? Well, what I want to do is I want to expand this table a bit. I want to expand this table to include another column with accounts. Guess what the function is called? It's an array function. Expand, obviously. It's expand. So I'm going to expand this array. Let's have a look at what that means. So look at this. So I come to my function here. I'm going to expand this whole thing I've written drop. It looks funny, but you saw how I did it. How am I expanding it? Say rows. Do I need to expand the number of rows there? I think the rows are fine. What I need is I need to expand, create a column, a new column here, and so that I can call it the accounts. This data is from accounts. So I'm not interested in row. Row is fine, but column, I want to add another column. So see, what does it say? The number of columns in the expanded array. So how many columns do I have here? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 columns. Now I need 6 columns. So I need 6 columns, all right? So if I say 6 columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to add one more column, 6 columns. Now if I just click OK, it's going to add another column for me with NA. But that's not what I want. I want it to also, I want to tell it what I want to see in that expanded column. I want to see accounts, okay? I want to see accounts, all right? Accounts. So if I click OK, look at it. So it has expanded it, but there's accounts to the right. So I'm doing construction work, right? I'm programming in Excel. This is modern Excel. Now, you as an Excel programmer are building this whole tool. There are some people in your office that won't have that skill set. By the time you finish building it, you should now create a simple solution for them to use. They just do equals to type something simple and it will all work out. But you need to be the programmer, right? So anyway, I don't like this. I would like accounts to be here, and then salaries, and then the values. That's what I would like. So what do I need to do? So I need to be able to kind of rearrange my columns, isn't it? So let's check. Is there a function called rearrange? Rearrange columns. Nope, nothing like that. But let me give you a trick about knowing what function to use. So if I go to FX, you know FX, the FX button up here, I can describe what I want. I need to rearrange my table, especially the columns. So let's see if this is smart enough. Nope, it's not. But guess what? AI is, isn't it? Hey, Copilot, I already know the function, but I'm just saying, hey, Copilot, what function in Excel will allow me to rearrange a table? Let's see if Excel is smart enough. Excel is not giving me anything. Error. So anyway, if you go to Copilot, normal Copilot, you will get it. But actually, the function is you need to basically choose. You need to be able to choose your columns. All right. So I'm now going to write another function. Say choose columns. So choose columns. Look at what it's doing. Let me go to choose columns. Right. Of course, you will rewatch this video and see how we built this whole thing. Right. This is the column. This is the table. Right. In this table, this whole nice table, I want to be able to choose what comes first, what comes second, what comes third. So I want accounts to come first. Now, if you count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is first. So I'll say, give me 6. That's 6. Then give me, this is 1, right? Then give me column 1. Then give me column 2. Then give me column 3. Then give me column, after column 3. Then give me column 4. And then give me column 5. All right? Let's see. And look at it. It has rearranged it. So look at this. So this formula we have here kind of looks ugly, right? Look at it. So we had a choose call expand drop that now basically automatically pulls data from my accounts sheet. And if for any reason somebody now comes in here and inserts, I don't know, what expense would we have? So we have Copilot expense or something. Copilot expense, and I enter some new data. The beauty of writing or programming is that it is automatic, right? Look at it. So accounts, Copilot expense. So since we've done this, why don't we make a new function? Because if you're telling somebody to remember this is ugly. Look at this. Let me put it. This is just ugly, man. Look at this. Very ugly. Look at the formula. Let's have a look at this formula. So at the end of the day, all I want someone to do is to tell me, I want to consolidate a sheet. Highlight the sheet. What is the name of that sheet? Type the name of the sheet, and it should work. So we're going to create a new function. Let's call it budget picker or budget budget data. Let's call this function budget data. So we're going to create a new function called budget data. And in the budget data, we're going to ask for only two things. Give me the range or the department. Give me the department range, and give me the department name. So this is our new function. We're going to call it a budget data. Give me the department range, give me the department name, right? And when that means you, the programmer, are now going to simplify this thing that you just did, right? Okay, so let's do that. How do we do that? This function, you come here, you take this function as is, this nice ugly function, you copy it, and then we're going to use a lambda. We're going to create a new function called budget data, which all the user needs to do is highlight the department range and tell us what the department name is. So to do that, you're going to go to Formula, Name Manager. Now, this interface is not very nice. I'll show you a nicer interface. But all you do is go to Formula, Name Manager. We'll create a new name. This new name, we're going to call it, what did we say? Budget data, all right? We're going to call it budget data. Here you can put a description of what that is. But the key thing here is inside this formula bar, I don't know if there's a zoom tool working. Magnifying glass, magnifier, increment. Let me see. Can I use a magnifier? Let's see if I can put it up. Control Alt L. Let's see. Okay. Control Alt L. No, it doesn't work. Okay, anyway, you just have to look at this. Sorry, it's so small. So you now have to do an equal sign, say lambda. So we're creating a custom function. Lambda, you open your bracket, and remember, we said we want a custom function that all it needs is department range and department name. So I'm going to say department range, comma, department name, comma, right? Lambda. Now, all of this is modern Excel. You couldn't do this in the old Excel, not possible. So I'm creating a custom function, department range, comma, department name, comma, and then I paste that function we wrote. Remember the choose, call, expand, drop. Then where you have your account, this is your account AAF or whatever, right? That is your range, isn't it? Oops, where is it? So that is your, what's it called? Department range. So I'm just updating the formula. That's my department range. And then, don't worry, I'm going to copy and paste it here under so you see how it looks. And then where I have my accounts that I typed accounts in double quotes, that's actually my department name, right? That's my department name, all right? That's my department name. Okay, it's coming up. See, that's what this interface is not very good. I'll show you a better interface shortly. Come on. Department name. Okay, good. So if I had typed everything right, let me have a look. Department name, choose, call, blah, 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 blah. Department range, department name. If everything works out, I put a close bracket for the lambda. Let me copy the entire lambda so you can see what it does and say, okay. Now it says you have missed an argument. So there's one thing missing. Let's see. Department range, department name, choose, call, expand, drop, department range. I can see 5 here. There's no comma. Supposed to be a comma here. I missed the comma. Okay. Let me try again. Copy. Say okay. Okay. So do you know what? Let me do it under here. So let's just do it here so it's easier. Let's paste it. So look at what you do. You're going to take your lambda inside your name. You're going to say, hey, lambda, department range, department name. Then this whole formula, you're going to copy this formula that you use that works. This formula that works, you copy this entire formula, right? Inside your lambda, you're basically going to paste that formula, paste it. And you're going to have a close bracket at the end. Now, I don't want it to calculate yet, so let's see. So if you look at our lambda, this is your department range and department name. Department range is you're defining the range and you're defining the name. So this range is that your account. Remember how we highlighted the accounts department? We just highlighted it. So I will need to change that account. So see this bit here, this bit. Let me just expand this so you can see it properly. So this account, this thing, this is now your department range, all right? That's your department range. And then at the end of this formula, where you have accounts, this is your department name, all right? Now, this is your lambda. This is the correct lambda. So this whole thing, I'm going to copy it and now go and define it in my name manager under formula. I come here and I'm going to create a custom function called what? What did we agree we're going to call this? We said budget data or something, right? Budget data. And then I say equals to, and I paste the lambda. This should work because it's clean. And I close. Now, what did we just do? So if you remember, we built out this whole very ugly looking formula. Now we've replaced it with a new formula called budget. So if I type equals to, see budget data. And what is the budget data asking for? What's it asking for? What's it asking for? It's asking for two things, right? It's asking for just two things. Equals to budget data, department range, and department name. So I can go into accounts, highlight A to F. But remember, we're not just highlighting. And you remember one important thing we did? You can remember. One important thing we did is after highlighting, we needed to truncate it. You need to put a dot here and a dot there. That forces it to just show you any blanks, it eliminates the blanks. And then at the end of this, we then need the department name. What's the department name? You put it in quotes, accounts. So this is your new function for consolidating your, at least getting all the data for your budget for consolidation later. When I enter, see what it does? Exactly this. So it has done this. So this is your account. This is your accounts. Now, it's not just accounts I want, isn't it? I want this for all my sheets, all my data sources. So I'm going to use another set of array formulas to do this. This one is now clean. Your users should be able to do this. They don't need to learn all this interesting stuff. So now I'm going to use this construct, and we're going to build out a full VStack. You know that VStack we did? A dynamic VStack, where it's going to stack all of the departments. So let's do that. Now, for us to do that efficiently, I'm going to use another function. It's called let. All right, so let's let AI tell us what let is. Remember, we actually asked AI at some point to tell us what something was. Let's see, where did we ask it? Let me go back to our other Excel. We did something in Excel, I think, where we asked AI all sorts of questions, but okay, maybe it's not there. Where is it? Okay, let me just say, okay, what's let? Let's ask AI to define let. Copilot, tell me what let is. Copilot, define this function in a single sentence. So I want you to define this function in a single sentence. AI generated is trying to generate. Let's see, define this function in a single sentence, E4T. My AI, maybe I've run out of tokens. Copilot function error. Copilot doesn't want to answer me. Okay, anyway, what the let does, right? It helps you define variables. So what I want to do is I want to tell let something. I want to say, hey, I want let to store accounts budget, go and store operations budget, store marketing budget, store HR budget, and then I'll tell it to consolidate it all at once. So I'm building a software. That's what I'm doing. So I'm saying equals to let, right? Equals to let, tab, Control A. Now, if you look at let, what let says is, it's a very funny, interesting function. It just says, what name do you want to give something? And what is that something? What's the formula in that something that you're giving it? What name do you want to give it? What's the formula? What name do you want to give it? What's the formula? So right now, I want to call this accounts. Let's say that accounts is, what's accounts? Accounts is, you remember we have a new function called budget data. Accounts is budget data. And accounts being budget data of what? It's going to be budget data budget data, open bracket, the entire column like this, right? Remember where we had dot, 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 and dot, come out, dot, dot, dot. Okay, look at it, it's in there. And then we had a comma, and then we gave it a name called accounts. All right, so let accounts be that. Now, if we kind of copy this, we can say, okay, then what's the next one? Operations. Let operations be the same thing, except that instead of going to accounts column, let's just call it operations. I'm just cheating here, trying to make it faster. So I'm going to change this accounts to the operations sheet, operations, right? And now, if I change it to operations, and then I'll call this operations. All right, so I'm defining these things. So let that, and then if I come down again to let, then I could say, you know what? So I'm letting these things be, this accounts, this operations, and then I can now say my VStack, I can say, look, let the results, I'm going to define something as result, is going to become my VStack of accounts and operations. So this is like writing English. So I'm saying the result will be my VStack of accounts and operations, and I want my let to return my results. All right. Now, if I click OK, so you're saying VStack. So this is your VStack of accounts and operations. So let me see, VStack of accounts and operations. So we have operations is this, we have accounts is this, we have budget, accounts is this, operations is this, and then your result is VStack should be accounts and operations, and give me my results. So if I enter, look at what happens. It's giving me accounts data and operations data consolidated automatically, right? So it's like you're writing Power Query inside Excel, but this is your function. Now this whole let's blah, 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 I can make it another custom function and make it simpler. So this is programming. This is purely programming, right? I mean, I can then do the final one, which is, this is operations, and then I can basically then have, I can even do another one here that says, do you know what? I want to start off with something called headings. I'm going to start with headings, and my headings, I can just pick a heading. I can say my heading is this. This is my heading, right? And if that's my heading, I then put a comma, it is going to consolidate those headings as well. So if this is my headings, I can tell the VStack that he needs to consolidate the headings before it consolidates accounting and operations, right? And then you have that here. Now, you can then also convert this and name this properly to replace it, all sorts of crazy stuff you could do. Now, that is the beginnings of how you work, how you program Excel. So you're basically programming Excel to work for you, right? You're programming Excel. Now, I could also come in here and put better looking headings. Let me just do that. So you have the full solution. So let me come in here and say, look, I want to put my own set of headings, which is, I mean, you could type the headings yourself. You don't even need to put the headings there, but I could come in here and say the headings are, you're going to have your, how did we consolidate it? We said department, then we have the reference or line item, then we have Q1 to Q4. So I could call this is my, this whole thing, I can give it a name. I can call it, this is my headings, right? And I can then program it into my solution here. So say, look, headings is basically going to be equal to headings, because I already named it headings. And then you see it's now working perfectly. So this is programming. I've shown you various functions here. If I come back to the list of array functions, you've seen me use let, you've seen me use drop, you haven't even used sort yet, but you saw me use let drop, and then you saw me use expand, you saw me use VStack, right? So when you say drop something, you can also say take something. It's like the opposite of drop. So what I want you to do, right, is try and understand that, look, Excel has fundamentally changed. It's not your usual static one formula gives you one result. One formula can give you multiple results. And you need to understand, okay, I need to automate the data collection bit. I need to be able to do it in a way that anytime anyone does something, it automatically consolidates. Because once I consolidate this data, right, I can use another set of functions to do reporting. So your reporting array functions, so these ones, this let just makes you more organized. This drop, you've seen how I've used it. This filter is a very, very, very powerful function that allows you to filter an entire table depending on how you want to filter it in different ways. But then there's some report-friendly functions. These ones are very report-friendly. Pivot by and group by. So if you take, for example, this data, let me say sales data. I have this sales data. I can decide, you know what, this is my sales data for various years. I want to do a pivot table. Now, pivot tables are what people do. People do insert pivot tables, but pivot tables are static. You have to keep refreshing. What I could do is I could do a report where I want all my regions. Look at this is the report I want. I want my regions to be lined up here, right? And then I want my products to be lined up here, my products, right? And then I want to see the sales. Now, you could use a formula, an array formula. You could say equals to pivot by, right? Another array formula. What is pivot by asking for? Look at it. Pivot by says, what are your row fields? What fields you want in your row? I could say, you know what, region. Now see what I did. I highlighted the entire thing. I'm being lazy. Can you remind me, how do I, even though I highlighted all 1 million rows, how do I tell Excel, hey, only take the ones that are not blank? Dot operator, right? I can just use the dot operator. So I don't need to highlight like this and then wait for any data. Or I could decide, you know, I highlight like this. I mean, at the end of the day, I want everything at the top, but I want to put a dot just before the second B, right? And then what's my column field? My column field is this. I'll use my dot operator just before it, dot. Then what's my value field? My value field is this. And I'll use my dot operator just before the F, the second F. What function do I want? I want the sum function. Now, do I have field headers, right? What field headers do I have? What's the field headers? If you come down, there are other things down here. You have field headers, you have row total depth, you have row sort, you have column total depth, you have all sorts, filter array. All of these are optional arguments, but let me stop with the normal argument and you see what it does. Look at what it has done. It has done a consolidation of my report automatically. If I change any value here, if I put some ridiculously big value here, you'll see the update in the report instantly, all right? So this is you automating your reporting based on your data directly using a function, right? Using a function. The name of the function is pivot by, right? You can decide you want to see totals in your report, or you don't want to see totals. You want to see top totals. You want all sorts. You can do all that. Just put the comma, and you see. Do you want to see field headers? Yes or no, right? What do you want to see? Do you want to see grand total or subtotal, grand and subtotal? Yes or no? Do you get? So you could do all sorts there. Now that's pivot by. Similar function is group by, which is even more powerful. You're group by, you're doing a group by. So again, all functions. So you could sit down and automate your entire reporting and analysis in your organization completely, right? Automate all your reporting and analysis in your organization. And you do that in Excel. But please remember something. You are the programmer. You are the Excel programmer. There are some Excel users that are not up to your level. But once you finish building and creating all your custom functions, then you now train people and say, hey, if you want to consolidate budget, just use the budget data consolidation function. They're like, there's no function like that. So no, I've programmed it. There is a budget data function. So you have a budget, a special function you've created. I didn't create it here. I created it here. That's why I didn't show. So it calls the budget. You can see there's now a function in this sheet called budget data. So This is modern Excel. And this is how to use modern Excel. There's a lot more that I can show you on modern Excel, but I'm going to pause here and see what the audience is looking at. It looked super complex, isn't it? It's a completely different way to work in Excel, but this is how to work in Excel. And if you have array functions, for example, let's say I come to my data, look at this data. I want to know, okay, how many regions do we have? What are the regions we have? You simply come in here and type another array function, unique. What are the regions we have? Just do a unique of this column, enter. It's going to give you a list of unique regions. But look at this 0. I don't want the 0 there. How do I remove the 0? That's because I didn't truncate this, right? I didn't put that dot operator, and you don't have that 0 again. These are your unique regions, right? And then I can use this if I want to refer to these regions, right? And let's assume I don't want the first column. I don't want that heading. I don't want the header. What do? I need to kind of drop the header, right? So I'm going to drop the header. What am I dropping? I'm dropping the first row. I don't want the first row. So all I want is this. Now, why do I want this? Because I'm going to use this in a drop down. I want to create a drop down of my unique set of what? Regions. So if I want to create a drop down of my unique regions, if you want to refer to an array, if you go to this cell and type, it says this. But if you go to this cell and put a hash at the end, the hash sign refers to an array. It will now give you the list. With this, I can go to data, what's it called? Data validation. Under data validation, I can come to list validation, click on this cell and put a hash at the end. This has now given me a list. Can you see that? This list, I can take the list up here, for example, and I can come and use this Americas to build a report for only Americas. How do I do that? I can come in here and say, hey, I'm going to filter this entire table, this whole thing. I'm going to filter this whole thing, right? How am I filtering it? I'm going to put a dot here and a dot here. I'm filtering this entire thing. And what I want you to include, right, is for this region, right? For this region, right? And this region, I'm going to put a dot. I want this region to be equal to this cell. Now, this looks strange, right? So if I enter, look at what happens. It has extracted from this big table all the Americas region. And now when I change Americas, I can take Americas down here. If I change Americas to APAC, it's now APAC. I change it to EMEA. Of course, this is just a data, this is just a format, so I can change the format. So I'm just giving you ideas of what you can do. You can imagine you've now extracted data from this table. And I can decide I'm also going to filter I can filter the product. I can filter, I want only things from 1st of January to only for the month of January. So I can have start date and end date, right? And use that inside the filter. And this is restricting just this. I can restrict start date, restrict end date, restrict, and I'll build a completely reporting tool automatically. Now, this data itself may be coming from different software. You need to use a tool, use Power Query to bring in the data so the data itself continues to update automatically. Now, when I started this, I told you that there are only a few things we need to do in Excel. Right? If I check, only a few things. What are the things we need to do in Excel? We work with data. Let me go to Excel. Where's the blank Excel? So I said there are only a few things we need. Get data, analyze data, share the analysis. Getting data, I've shown you how to use Excel functions, the new array functions in modern Excel to consolidate and get your data. You can use Power Query as well. Analyze data, again, we've seen group by and stuff, but analyze data, one of my top 5s is Power Pivot or Power Query is my number 1. Power Query, getting your data with Power Query, automating the Power Query process. Then the other powerful tool is how you analyze data. You analyze data with a new language called DAX, Data Analysis Expressions. I'm using Excel right now, but DAX to me is more superior when it comes to analysis. How do you get DAX? You need to build a data model. Come to data, you'll see data model here, data model. Go online to our YouTube channel, you should be able to see some videos around the data model. These data tools, data model tool, you build a full-blown analytic solution using the data model tool. And you'll be able to analyze it and stuff, right? And then you have your analysis or your reporting, which again, you use your various charts and tables, but the key thing is get the data, analyze the data, and then share your analysis, right? And if you don't want to do all of that, you're tired, you just want to automate, you can click in your data and just select analyze data. Just click on analyze data under data, and it will give you a full-blown analysis to the right like this automatically. And then you can ask questions using AI, ask questions about the data and to give you answers. So this is the analysis is done about our data, just this data. And you can ask questions on insights. What is the top product? The top 3 products. Now, this is me just typing, right? So what's the top 3 products? You have Gamma, Delta, and Alpha. All right, top 3 products by units. This is top 3 products by revenue, right? Now, this is a tool. This is like AI. But if you want to do all of that inside Excel, you need to learn array formulas and be able to do that. So this is like a full-blown overview, general overview of the modern way of working in Excel, right? Getting data, pivot data. But there are many things. A cell can now contain rich data types. So all of these things are rich data types. And if I go to this column, I have some data that I pulled out for, let me see, where is this data? Okay, I have some raw data here. Let's look at this data of prices of various stocks. So look at these ticker symbols. So all this stuff, let me kind of find a unique, let me just say unique set of, or even I don't even need to do that. Let me just say I'm trying to buy, I don't know, Microsoft stock, or I don't know whether to buy NVIDIA, or maybe to buy, I don't know, Oracle. So these are the stocks I'm thinking of buying, or maybe I've done a financial model and I'm thinking of doing an analysis. Now, because Excel allows you to have in a cell rich data types, we can highlight this and convert this to a rich data type. What do I mean? Under data, there's something called data types. Inside data types, there are some highlighted data type formats, and you can create your own data type. I can say, do you know what? I need this to be a stock. If you click on this and convert it to stock, what it's doing is it's looking at it and going online and saying, is there a stock like called Microsoft? Is there a stock called NVIDIA? Is there a stock called Oracle? It's going to the various stock exchanges to see if these things really exist. And then it's going to convert this to a stock data type. And then all the data about Microsoft stock, live data, is going to now feed you with that live data. So look at this. It's having problem with NVIDIA. Maybe the NVIDIA is asking, is it NVIDIA Corporation in Toronto or is it the one in NASDAQ, right? I guess I'll choose the one in NASDAQ, right, for NVIDIA, right? So I'm choosing the one in NVIDIA. NASDAQ is going to convert this to that stock. Now, this is not a typical data type. This is now a rich data type. So what will this allow you to do? As an analyst, if you're doing valuations and stuff, and you're doing comparable companies, you'll be able to get those comparable companies here. And then you can click here and say, what is the latest share price? What is the price? What is the latest price? So this is the latest price. Well, I'm putting, it's not in Naira really. My currency is Naira, but this is, my default currency is Naira, but it's not Naira. This is definitely going to be dollars, right? So my default currency for my spreadsheet, my computer is Naira. So this is $507. That's I can come here and say, okay, I also want to know market cap. What's the market cap? So this is the market cap. Again, it's not Naira. So the market cap is 3 trillion. Are you serious? $3.7 trillion. That's the market cap, right? So I can highlight this and drag this down. NVIDIA is still not coming up, but you can see how far you're going. You can do detailed analysis. You could get stock prices every single day, all the various stock prices and stuff, and build a tool that is extracting information from the internet, right? And key thing is stay organized. Your data should follow a certain golden rules. We call it the 7 golden rules. And I'll end with that 7 golden rules. So the 7 golden rules is your data should be structured in a way to allow you to do automatic analysis, to allow you to automate that data build-up process. Let me give you the 7 golden rules, and I'm going to pause there. So I've talked about you need data, you need to analyze that data, then you need to report on that data. But again, the automation process, you have so many options. I've just touched on a little. So many options. I've used Excel functions to automate. There are automation tools in Excel. There's Power Query, there's Power Pivot, there's DAX, there's M, another language, and you have other add-ons that you could use to automate. But I like using Excel itself to automate. Now, what are the 7 golden rules of data that you need to understand? They haven't changed. Rule number 1, your data must have 1 row of headings. Your headings must be in 1 row only. Rule number 2 is your rows must not be empty. We call this the orderly framework, right? It spells orderly. You have to be orderly with your data or you will suffer. So 1 row of headings, rows must not be empty, so don't have any empty rows. Just make sure every row has data. Dates in a single column, your dates have to be in a single column. Not dates like this, not January, February, March like this, dates in 1 single column, right? Every unique data type or category must have its own column. So every unique data type must have its own column, right? So if I go to, if I'm here in employee, so this is name, it's a unique data type, it has its own column. Department is a unique data type, dates are in a single column. Your data, so every single column, every single data type must have its own column, right? Then remove all totals and subtotals. Now, if you look at it, when we try to consolidate the budget, right? We removed totals and subtotals. It's super important. You do not need these totals, you don't need that. When you're having your data shouldn't have totals and subtotals. Your report can have totals and subtotals, but your raw data shouldn't, all right? That's another rule. Then leave no empty columns. Don't have any empty columns. So all this empty row, that's why we eliminated this. We didn't need total, we don't need an empty row. Don't go and insert an empty column here. It's going to mess up your tool. I come to my tool now, it's kind of messed up. Look at it. Don't leave empty columns, right? Then lastly, your table must not have any obstruction around it. Don't come here and say, oh, good, okay, nice. If you must have some content like this, then give it a heading, call it comments or something, and let it do analysis with it. Yeah, so these are the tools. Now, AI on top of this is also super wonderful, but again, things are changing. Lots of things are changing. Excel is changing significantly. What's the future of Excel? For me, the future of Excel has a lot to do with AI. Now, Excel has been on for almost, 40 years? And it's been changing. It's been changing and growing and improving and changing and growing and improving. They did a major change with that statement of dynamic arrays. They had to change the whole way Excel works. If you remember, I shared this statement here, right? They had to change the entire way Excel works, but they still need to change even more with AI. And how do they incorporate AI into Excel? So you now have your Copilot, and the nice thing about Copilot is you could do sentiment analysis. I won't have time to do that. Imagine downloading data from Twitter. All your posts, all people's replies to your post on Twitter. All you need to do with that reply is just do a Copilot. So have the reply, come here and write, Copilot, read these sentiments or read this post that we have and create a score between 1 and 10. 10 being most positive or likely, or just do an analysis. Give me a sentiment score. Highest score being very positive, low scores being very negative. Tell it how to do the scoring. And you have your 1,000 comments from your various social media. It will now do a sentiment analysis score for you. That used to be super expensive. Now, all you need is Copilot. And it's done, right? Now, for you to be able to take advantage of this, you need to have a certain version of Excel. So you need to understand, okay, what version of Excel do I have? What's my version of Excel, right? So you need to ask, so what's your version? You need to go and check your file. Let me go to File Options. Go to File Options or Accounts, actually, File Accounts. So if you go to File Accounts, you need to check File Accounts and then go and check your version, what version of Excel you have. Now, the version you need is 365, Office 365, Microsoft 365, the latest Microsoft 365, and that's the version. But if you go to About, if you look down here, you'll see my version is 2510. What does that mean? That means October 2025. But we're not in October, we're in September. That's because I'm using the beta version. The beta version is newer, it has the latest Excel, the Excel coming up next month or next year. I already have it here. So check your Excel right now. Go to File, go to Account, check the version you have. Make sure it's Microsoft 365. Or nearly all these tools I'm saying will not really work. Some of them will work, not all of them would work. And then ensure that your IT is updating Excel on a regular basis so that you can always have the latest. And then, I mean, the whole learning or relearning of Excel can start, because Excel has it has changed a huge load, and you need to catch up. You need to catch up. So that is my session around Excel and the modern ways of using Excel. We've been able to use Excel to pull out a tool, build a Lambda, build a custom function. We use different Excel array formulas and array functions to try and build that out. And you've seen how all of that works together. So back to everybody here. What would you do with Excel? What is the next step for you with Excel? And would you like me to go further? Would you like me to kind of go further? I kind of do a lot of modeling, and understanding these latest things will help us be able to build models more efficiently. So we have questions here. I think, thanks a lot, David. Once AI is developed to its full capacity, it will do more harm than good to the labor market. Not really. It's going to change the labor market, Olumide, completely change it. What we see as work today is not going to be work tomorrow. We need to work at a far higher level. So imagine this, Olumide, you have a software you're thinking of, oh, this solution, if a solution can do this or can do that, it will make me so much more efficient. Go and write it. Go and write the detailed prompt, and you and AI should build the solution, build the software. That's what's going to happen in the future. You're going to work at a higher level. The work you're doing now, most of this work, AI will do it. And then you'll be building some real high-level solutions. So we're all our intelligence is just going to move up. That's what is going to happen. And for those that really want it to, it's going to move up, right? So question to everybody. Would you like me to help you become a world-class financial modeler, analyst, top analyst, where your skills with the skills to earn more and become top talent? Is that what you would like? Would you like me to help you with that? Yes, no, no, yes. Yes, 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 good. You would like me to help you with that. Well, the way to do that is really for you to join us in the academy. Because in the academy, I do a mentorship. Every weekend, I do this kind of talks where I'm answering questions, any question from anywhere, and I'm giving out all sorts of interesting new insights. I'm going to do that as part of this academy for 8 sessions. So 8 times 2, you're going to get 16 hours of just me giving you deep insights and mentoring you, helping you with your career as part of the Financial Modeling Academy. So you're going to get 8 weeks of content for you to become a top financial modeler. Once you get that and you get my 8 weeks of mentorship, you're then going to go into another program where you're going to try and we're going to groom you to pass an exam, an international exam by the Financial Modeling Institute. So you're going to do another exam by the Financial Modeling Institute. We're going to groom you for the exam. You're going to go through a step-by-step guide. You're then going to go through about 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 mock exams. And once you go through those mock exams, you're now super ready. You will now go through a live mock with us 2 weeks before the exam. Then 1 week before the exam, you'll do another simulated mock with the Financial Modeling Institute using their platform. So you see how you're going to do the exam when you do the exam. Then you do your exam, you get your certification, and then you continue working with us for another year, where we're going to kind of continue to groom you, answer your questions. And if you're number 3 on this list of people, which I said you're probably just starting out, you're a student, you'll be able to start almost getting internships. Even as a student, there's one student that actually got an internship while being a student. Can you imagine? Let me show you him. He got an internship and he's basically earning dollars already as a student.
I am Oliver Akamobe. I'm a graduate student in general accounting at the University of Lagos. FMA Academy at a summit organized by CFA 2023 December. So I went there. That was the first time I heard about financial modeling to Brown Consult. Okay, my primary motive for enrolling in the Financial Modeling Academy was to develop a highly sought after skill in financial modeling, which is highly and increasingly demanded by employers in the financial sector. Also, I aim to achieve global recognition in this industry by mastering the essential technical competency. Yesterday, my expectation was to gain out an experience and acquire in-demand skills and be globally recognized. Yeah, actually I had a doubt when I called and I was asked to pay, and I was told to pay $150 for a skill that worth thousands of dollars. I was like, oh, I'm not wasting my money. So when I called, I had the faith and belief, because what made me pay the money was, I said, oh, although if I am scammed, I would have to contact CFA Nigerian Society to regain my money. But and at last, eventually, and it was a great deal, and it was a great step and a great journey for me, because now I have enhanced my technical skills in Excel and Power BI. Teaching materials and the support, I will rate it 1,000 over 100.
Okay, so I'll just pause there. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me. I think you can. Okay, so I'll just pause there and say, so that was just a student that's still in Unilag, University of Lagos, is level 3. He's now an AFM holder. He has the certification Advanced Financial Modeler, and he's building models for some companies abroad and earning some dollars. So that's really cool. Now, the key thing here is we've partnered with the Financial Modeling Institute in Canada. Their exam alone is like $725, right? Our own course, if you want to do our full-blown course, is like almost $1,000, right? And then your step-by-step guide, your mock, your support is quite expensive. So we're so happy to be partnering with Financial Modeling Institute and Ian, especially. And that way we're able to provide this wonderful service to African residents. And we also provide a scholarship for Africans. Anybody resident in Africa, if you're a student, special scholarship. If you're a resident in Africa, special scholarship. And then if you are rest of the world, there's also a scholarship, but not as much for the rest of the world. And these are all the things you get. So this is Ian introducing the Academy, as in the launch of the Academy, or I'll say me and Ian when we launched the Academy. So I'll just play this for you. Hi, I'm David Brown from D. Brown Consulting.
And hi there, I'm Ian Schnur from the Financial Modeling Institute, the FMI, in Toronto, Canada. We are very pleased to announce the launch of the Financial Modeling Academy, the FMA.
And the launch of a special scholarship for African residents and students. The FMA will open up employment opportunities as analysts in private equity, hedge funds, FP&A.
Thousands will be able to get employed as corporate or commercial bankers, work in private debt or equity research, and become a valued strategic advisor to any organization in the world.
And the Financial Modeling Academy takes just 8 weeks to complete at a fraction of the cost.
Click the link below or scan the QR code to join the next cohort of the Financial Modeling Academy today and supercharge your career in finance.
All right, so great. And as part of this academy, the next cohort of the academy, we're going to go deeper into AI. So we're going to show you how to use AI. So yes, you need to learn the rigorous skills, but then how do you work with AI? How does AI become your analyst, your research analyst, and significantly reduce the time it takes you to do research? I did a webinar recently on financial modeling and artificial intelligence, where AI built an exceptional research report. If you can go to our platform and watch that, you'll see it, but you're going to see a lot more during our actual sessions, right? So financial modeling, these are some of the testimonials. So we see Different people having different testimonials. Why not give it a try? And today, no regrets. Evelyn has no regrets for the journey. Senior financial analyst who can now build structured complex models. Before he enrolled building a model like a big black box before, but now very structured, easily auditable and stuff. So this is the Financial Modeling Academy. These are all the things you get from the academy. And one important thing is, since you are here and I promise you stay till the end, I promised you a gift. And the gift is, if you register for the academy is coming up very soon. If you register for the academy, you're going to get access to your pre-work anyway, Excel and some other tools, but you get an additional tool, which is mastering timing in project finance models. So there's a timing, when it comes to project finance models, timing is everything. And this set of techniques that we use for calculating timing. Very interesting set of techniques, which you can master by registering today. Only if you register today, you'll get this. So if you check and you register today, you'll be able to get this. And how can you register? Well, how you register is the various routes. This is the bombshell scholarship, $2,871 value. If you are a student, you get it for $150. Most of you here will not get this, so don't be happy right now, because this is very strict. It's for only undergraduate students in an institution that we have accredited. So let me remind you what you're getting. You're getting a $725 exam. It's still inside this $150. You're not paying extra. You're getting a $725 exam. A course worth $1,200. Exam prep worth $199. Excel primer worth $199. Modular primer worth $99. Community access worth $149. And 8 weeks of my time worth $300. All for $150. Right? That is what you heard the other testimonial talk about, right? $150. How do you access this? One, you need to be an undergrad. You need to be undergrad, not MSc, not PhD, sorry. Undergrad students in an institution we have accredited, right? And then two, you can also be a student of a professional body. So if you're a CFA student, ICANN student, ACCA student, Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers of Nigeria student, and soon also the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers, we're also talking to other institutes so we can see if they can verify you. Because why? The university and the professional body need to verify that you are really their student. Because if you are not their student, we're basically going to cancel your registration. We're not refunding your money, and you won't be able to write the exam at all. So don't go through this route. It's massive, massive route, yes. But if you're a resident, if you're a resident in any African country, excluding South Africa, unfortunately, if you're a resident in Ghana, if you're a resident in Egypt, you're a resident in Nigeria, you'll pay $347. Yes, you'll get the exam, $725, the course, you get everything for $347, right? Exceptional deal. 1 year access, super grooming to be a top financial modeling analyst. Now, for the rest of the world, you get it at $972, which is still huge value. $2,871, you're getting it for $972. That's if you're living outside Africa, or if you're living in South Africa, you'll get it for $972. So check the links, you see all the links, and go and register for the Financial Modeling Academy. We're going to, of course, you're going to have all the resources, all these interesting resources we're talking about, modern ways to use Excel. But more importantly, how do you think critically as a world-class financial modeling analyst? So I'm looking for questions. I'll go into the question side. I'm going to do questions for 5 minutes, and then we'll close. Any questions? What about ACCA students? Yes, ACCA students are covered as well, Hillary. ACCA students, we have a relationship with ACCA where we can verify if you're an ACCA student. Yes, ACCA is covered. Please, what is the difference between FMI and CFI? Okay, so CFI is FMVA. So CFI is a body that does modeling and other things, and then they test their users. So the difference is you have an examiner that is also your trainer. So a trainer and an examiner all in one, right? That's one difference. We are the trainers. Examiner is Financial Modeling Institute, separate from the trainer. So separate from the training institution, right? So that just like you have professional bodies, chartered accounting body is different from the school that teaches you how to do accounting. That's one. Number two is the exam is also different. For the Financial Modeling Institute, in the exam, you're going to have a spreadsheet of historical data, and you're going to have some few, maybe some pages of information. And you're going to start with a blank spreadsheet. They're going to be recording your screen live. So your screen is going to be recorded, as in you're going to go online to the portal. Your screen is being recorded. You are being recorded. And within 4 hours, you need to build a detailed model, full 3-statement model with your analysis, your reporting, your dashboard, everything. You need to build with scenario analysis and stuff within 4 hours. So you build, and then you submit. And then a real modeler is going to go through your model and then assess whether you passed or not. So it's very different. Your FMVA is an online multiple choice exam. Yes, you do some models and stuff, but you answer multiple choice and then your results come out almost immediately. This one, you're submitting your model, the real thing, right? So that's the difference. Any more questions? Let me see. Let the questions keep coming. I'm reading them. Let's see. Does this apply to those in the US? Yes. If you're in the US, you get this. You get it at 972, everything. You get it. We have quite a lot of people that also in the US that have done this, from Switzerland and different places. So with 972, you get this $725 exam. You get the $1,200 full course. Every week you get content. And by the way, you're also going to have an accountability hub where you're going to have study partners. You're going to have study partners that you will decide who your study partner is. We advise you have at least 5 or at most 5 in your study group, and you continue pushing yourselves to go through the program. It's a very rigorous program, but people have done it and they've passed and they're doing very well. So yeah, the US, super welcome. More questions? Let me see. Please, how about Anand? So Anand, we're talking to Anand. We haven't signed an MOU with Anand yet. So if you're an Anand student, you would need to do the legwork to prove to us that you're an Anand student. So any professional body, accounting professional body, finance professional bodies and groups, once we have a discussion with some of the senior leaders in those professional bodies, we can do some work on that. But the simplest thing is to have them registered with us. Because when you register, when you're doing your registration form, you will not see Anand on the list. So you probably will need to talk to us first, all right? You need to talk to us first. But ACCA is on the list, you can get that. Okay, so more questions, let me see. Are there hard copies of materials for exam preparation? Yes, all our materials, you have videos, you have full detailed videos, and every single video has a transcript. So if you want, you can print out all the transcripts, and that should be your hard copy stuff. But this is not a hard copy paper-based thing, right? You need to build the model. So the way I advise you do it is if you have 2 screens, or if you have your phone, you can watch the video there, and on your screen you can be building. So you're watching and building, watching and building, watching and building. You're not just watching, you're watching and building. And it's very detailed steps. Each video is like 5 minutes, 4 minutes, very short videos. Once you go through the entire process, you will definitely be a solid modeler, right? And you join the club, and we can talk about many other things. Questions? Any other question? Please, what's the difference between, okay, kudos, I was part of the May 2025 cohort of the D. Brown FMA Academy, and I passed. Oh, that's Chinwe, wonderful. And I'm still here learning from the maestro. Okay, Chinwe, that's so nice to know, right? So pay it forward, get some people registered. Success is saying, I got an email about the live mock. And someone like me who is a student and haven't started any lecture whatsoever on financial modeling. So if you're a student and you don't know anything about financial modeling, you're fine. You can join the academy. Because if you join now, we're going to give you some courses that you will do to kind of brush things up, brush some knowledge stuff up before the academy starts proper. So yeah, you can join us immediately. Students to me are the best because you're already in the study mode, unlike us that are working 9 to 5, right? It's difficult for us 9 to 5 people, but students I think this is the time for you. Yeah, super stuff. Let me see, no more questions. I think I'm going to close. Okay, can someone without a finance background but interested in finance take this? Yes, you can. So if you're without a finance background, it means Henry, this is from Henry. Henry, you can do this. In fact, this is the best way to enter finance if you learn modeling, because we're going to go deep into the financial statements. So we're going to restructure the financial statements. You're going to learn the notes to the accounts and how to restructure them. So I think this is excellent for you. If you're already experienced in whatever experience you have, this won't be difficult, but everybody needs finance. I know that for sure. All right. I'll wait just 10 seconds and see if I have any more questions. If not, I hope you enjoyed this session. I was kind of pondering, should I make it technical or not technical? It was kind of technical, right? So, but everything I've done, you should be able to do it yourself as well. So I advise you rewatch. For those doing the rewatching, that's good. Rewatch and practice these skills on your own, but just know that Excel has fundamentally changed. Not like the old Excel. And you need to learn these new ways of doing stuff. All right. So thank you very much, everybody. We're looking forward to seeing you in the academy, the Financial Modeling Academy, and looking forward to you becoming certified, accredited as an advanced financial modeler. And then you continue to grow in the field of modeling. Modeling, there's a lot to cover when it comes to financial modeling. But thanks a lot, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you in class. Bye-bye, everybody.
My name is Ajibola Abiodun, and I currently work as an investment associate at Black Iron Capital. The major reason why I wrote for the FME course was strictly because of the value and the money. So first, in terms of the value, the course provided more than just a platform to write the exam. I was able to learn modeling from the scratch itself. And also there are some other additions to the courses that made it very, good value for money. And in terms of the money aspect, right? So it's more of like a scholarship, and I'm sort of paying for something worth over $2,000 at a ridiculous amount. And I just had to jump on it. And in terms of my expectations, I wanted to learn modeling, right? And I've been doing it for a while now. And I think one of the things that I learned, for example, were in terms of maybe setting my printer, in terms of making my model printable, trying to, work around with Evolver and all those sort of things. So those really, helped me. And in terms of my current role, fortunately, I think immediately after the exam, for example, I had one particular project I had to work on, and I had to sort of implement a couple of the things that I learned. So it's made my model more professional in terms of its look and feel. And I think that the course itself has sort of greatly increased my financial modeling skills. And for my general experience at the academy, so I would say this is beyond just a modeling course, right? So I got to meet wonderful people. So for example, I met Baba Tokwe, who is one of our instructors. I also had like a couple of colleagues like Evelyn, which we sort of practice for 2 weeks. We're practicing every day, and we are staying in touch till today. So if you are there and you are looking for, you are trying to make that decision, I think you need to make that decision to enroll for this course, because it's going to be one of the best things that, happen to you in the long run.